G'day guys, how you doing? It's the Kiwi back with another video, and in this video we're going to be expanding on the previous video. And the reason behind that is I had a gentleman leave a comment. He was in his early 70s and he said, and I quote, "What you've said in this video absolutely terrifies me. I'm genuinely afraid of the future for my children and my grandchildren." And it kind of bothered me because the purpose behind that video wasn't to scare anyone. It wasn't to terrify anyone. It was about putting information out there that you can look into and process and figure things out for yourself. That's what this channel has always been about from the very beginning, was just giving individuals a little bit of information, a tiny piece of information that they could focus on, quietly process, and let these seeds of information blossom inside of you, so you can actually start figuring out what way you want to be going in your life. That's what this channel has always been about. Okay, it's the reason why I don't make a lot of videos, because it takes time for seeds of information to germinate and blossom inside the human body. We have to metabolize the information. So the truth of the matter was, it's not about putting fear into you. It's about giving you information that you can process and then make a necessary life-changing decision, move your life in a different direction, in a positive direction. Talk to other people about this stuff. See if there's other people out there that you can share the information with. You can bounce your ideas off and help that seed of information germinate inside of yourself and then blossom into some sort of real life action that is potentially going to be of benefit for you. I've never been about telling anyone on this channel, this is what you should be doing, this is how you should be living, this is where you should be going. If you're not doing this, you're not going to make $1 million. If you're not doing this, you're not going to be successful. I've never been about that, because I am completely and utterly aware of how the human consciousness works, and that we all have our own individual path in life that we need to go down. So what works for me doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. That being said, the information that I put in that video, I put it out there because of the fact that nobody else is sharing this information with us. And that's extremely malevolent, okay? It's extremely nefarious, to say the least. Forget about mainstream media. We know that's incredibly compromised. But there's so many alternative media channels out there today that aren't sharing factual information with us in any way, shape, or form. They're constantly just reporting on all the regular BS that is going on in the world, which tells me that those channels are highly compromised. They're being utilized and paid off by the power players to keep control of their power. And one of the things that I think is extremely dark, I think it's extremely malevolent and extremely satanically evil, is the fact that nobody's telling any of us the truth about the reset. And it's why I've been talking about nature, about telling people, or not telling people, suggesting that you get back into nature, start experiencing nature. Because what we've got going on right now is the collective consciousness of humanity is feeling that there's something big coming down the pipeline. Now, they can't put their finger on it. You talk to people, they're just like, I don't know, but I just feel like there's going to be something really big happening. Well, I can tell you what that really big thing is. And that is that nature is going to reset. That's what you're feeling inside of yourself. Because what's happened is the frequency of the planet has changed dramatically. Its vibration has gone through the roof. So what we're feeling, all of us, including myself, and I consider myself relatively conscious, I'm still a regular human being. However, I do feel I've awakened. I've raised my consciousness. I am aware of certain things in our world and in the entire universe. Okay, I'm never going to say I'm fully awakened. I'm certainly never going to say that I've entered 5D consciousness, because I have actually entered 5D consciousness once, and I can assure you that I have never been back to that point, because humanity isn't ready for it, let alone me. It took me over a week to recover from that one experience. So all these people that are like, oh, I've entered 5D consciousness. No, you haven't, dude. No, you haven't. All that's happening to these people that are experiencing these feelings of heightened consciousness is they've just touched their soul for the very first time. Think about that. They've just touched their soul for the very first time. They've gone, pink. Whoa, I'm awakened. No, you're not. I'm sorry. It's a whole process. And that's what we're experiencing right now, because the planet's consciousness vibration has gone through the frickin' charts, and we're still stuck down at a low vibration energy. So we're experiencing this new energy that is around us, and because we're not capable of raising our energy to where it needs to be, nature is going to reset. Nature itself, Mother Earth, the feminine energy of the planet, is incredibly unpredictable. Like anything feminine, it is unpredictable, period. And it's looking at all its little children on this planet, and it's going, they're not learning anything. I'm going to reset this joint. That'll wake them up. That's what we're feeling. We're feeling what is coming down the pipeline. We're all aware of it. We can all feel this pit in our stomach. We can feel this anxiety. We can feel this concern, this worry. What's going on in the world? What's up with all this craziness? What's happening? What's going on? And it's gotten stronger and stronger and stronger after 2012, right? There's thousands of people, hundreds of thousands, millions of people talking about this stuff out there in the real world. Nobody has an answer. They are all talking about this ascension, manifestation, living your life of your dreams, all this woo-woo stuff. Mother Nature is going to reset, and she's going to take us to our core consciousness. Our core consciousness is nature. That's all there is to it. Now, when is that going to happen? Well, that's the multi-million-dollar question. I have no idea. I would presume, pretty much, like I said, that it's going to happen in the next 20 years, like I said in the previous video. But like I said, Mother Nature is unpredictable. Something could happen tomorrow. Boom. And we'll be like, oh my, like, it's going to rattle humanity to its core, because that's the only way you can wake people up. You have to literally take people and shock them to their core. That's what I've been experiencing for 30 effing years, is all these different events that have rattled me to my core, rattled me to my core, rattled me to my core. And they've happened over and over and over and over and over again, to the point where I was finally like, okay, I'm out. I'm out. And I own, the only thing I own that is part of this system is a motor vehicle. That is it. End of story. Everything else, no, I'm not taking part in the system in any way, shape, or form. Because I know that something is going to happen. What that something is any number of things. It could be a pole shift that Suspicious Observers talks about. Ben on Suspicious Observers is always talking about the pole shift. It could be a massive CME knocking out the global power grid. It could be a super volcano going off. It could be an asteroid hitting the planet. It could be any number of things. The one thing that I've been, through my own personal research, I've been seeing a lot of is floods, massive floods. There's been a colossal amount of people, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, January this year. When we first moved into this energy, we moved into the new timeline energy for a short while, like January, February, March, and then we popped back out of it. And as of August into this month, boom, we're back into that energy again. And we are not moving out of it for thousands of years. So the first couple of weeks of January, there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of people globally having dreams of massive flooding. Myself personally, I had 2 dreams myself. So how can we really truly figure out what's potentially coming down the pipeline? Okay, well, here's one point. Since 2012, a huge amount of people have been building bunkers in New Zealand. The super wealthy, the Illuminati, even people that ex-employees, retired employees of the CIA are building bunkers in Queenstown, New Zealand. There's been dozens of these things built down there. I talked to an individual on a flight from Blenheim, New Zealand to Auckland, New Zealand, January of 2020, who worked for one of the construction companies that is building these bunkers. Colossal amount of information from that guy. So out of all these people that are building bunkers in New Zealand, we have members of the CIA, retired members of the CIA, actually building bunkers. So we have to look at what the CIA's been up to over the years. Well, the CIA, with the help of the United States military, developed this supercomputer called Project Looking Glass. Cut a long story short, it became an incredibly powerful supercomputer where they could program in any of these different scenarios, and in regards to going to war, invading Iraq, you name it, and it would punch out an answer. And depending on when they put in the information for what they wanted to do, would depend on the answer that it was going to punch out. So the Illuminati, the elites, had been utilizing this supercomputer to their advantage, okay, for them to make this money, how to control humanity, all this different stuff, right? So what happened was after 2012, it didn't matter what the scenario was that they punched into that supercomputer, the same scenario kept on playing out. However, nobody knows what that scenario, well, there is a certain group of people that knows what that scenario is. However, the regular Muppets, like ourselves, we've never been told anything about this. Now, I did a bunch of research on Project Looking Glass when the information was very much available. Now you can hardly find any information on this stuff. So what I found just recently, and it's in a video description below, watch the video for the first minute. The gentleman is personal friends with an individual who is a member of one of these Illuminati families. He's the heir to a major banking fortune, like massive banking fortune. And he talks about 2 resets. The first reset being a financial reset, and the second reset being nature. Nature's resetting. The financial reset, is like the gentleman says, is what we're living through right now. I've done a video on that stuff last year, and pretty much everything that I've talked about in that video has been playing out over this past year and a half. Okay, to the letter. So the first reset, as I said in that video, is a man-made. It's basically a false reset. It's not the real reset. The real reset is nature. I've been talking about nature over the period of this year. You know, like I said, suggesting you get back into nature, start experiencing nature, spending time in nature. Because when you're in nature, that feeling that you have inside of yourself, that pit in your gut, that feeling of anxiety and concern, don't know what's going to happen, all that sort of stuff, guess what happens to it? It goes away. So that tells me when I'm in nature that I need to be in nature. So I've minimalized to the max my footprint in this world. The only thing that I own is my, like I said, my F-150, and that's it. That's the extent that I take part in the system. So from what I can gather, that's what the answer is that came from Project Looking Glass. The answer from Project Looking Glass is that nature is going to reset. So then we have to look at, okay, what's the timeline on this? Well, we keep on hearing about 2030, 2030, 2030. You know, Jacinda Ardern, who's as dumb as a box of blocks, she's an extremely nefarious, evil woman. However, she is stupid, and she was addressing Bill Gates during COVID in New Zealand and going on about how we're on track for Agenda 2030 to have everything implemented and in place by 2030. So what they're shooting for is having whatever it is that they want in place. Control, power over the humanity, all that sort of stuff. Everything in place by 2030. So what? So they've got everything in place before nature resets. Because they're going to be able to pinpoint with that supercomputer that they had. Because what that computer was that programmed and wrote algorithms that took all the ancient esoteric knowledge, all the zodiac signs from around the star, zodiacs, anything and everything that was out there. They programmed algorithms for this stuff. So they could put in a scenario for the entire planet on what would happen on these days, times, etc. Okay? And the reason why I know this stuff works is if you've ever done a human design chart, which I've done multiple human design charts to help me get me through the last 20 years, because I had no idea why I was going through this absolute shit show of a life. Well, by putting my name, or not my name, the time I was born, or the date I was born, the time I was born, and then the location I was born, it would punch out an answer in regards to a spiritual conscious profile of who I was as a human being at that time. And literally, it's just a looking glass for the human soul. That's what a human design chart is. Well, the actual project looking glass is just a human design chart on an absolutely massive level. That's how I know that what they've been talking about, Project Looking Glass, and what they did with it, that's how I know it's one, it's a real thing, and two, that these scenarios can happen. They will play out. They will show up. So the big one is, yes, nature is going to research. How that plays out in your life personally is up to you. I know what I'm going to be doing. I know how I'm going to be living my life. Now, like I said, the big one is, when is it going to happen? Well, like I said, we've got 2030, so pretty much we've got between now and 2030. And what happens from that point forth? I mean, it's up to whatever is in control of this whole deal. So that's literally the video. I don't know really what to say outside of that. Take the information for what it's worth. Look into it yourselves. Research it. See how it plays out into your life, etc., etc., etc. You know, do research. Listen to the other YouTube channels. Suspicious Observers is a good source of information on these subjects. But like I said, it's Mother Earth. It's going to be unpredictable. That's all there is to it. So, leave comments in the comments section. Let's see what people have to say. Let's share our thoughts. And yeah, until the next video, guys, look after yourselves. Take care. Alrighty?